What's going on, guys?
You crack the joke, you just tell them my face, right?
Just looking up some notes before the thing starts. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but today on the agenda, they're going over some document destruction. They're going to destroy a bunch of documents for no fucking reason. It's because they want to destroy them.
There's an enemy combatant right there, Rogue One. Rogue enemy combatant.
The real narrative, we're talking about the fake one.
Just going over some stuff. Looking at my spreadsheet.
Embedded foreign enemy combatant Latinos. That's what you are. And you got 4 friends that are real close too. And you're both supposed to have cams on so we hear the conversation. Anybody should be able to hear your conversation and then go back and review it. What are you two talking about?
Just trying to get my dates right.
Yeah, it's exhausting getting this country. Racism. Corruption.
That was in 2023. July 2023. We noted the document destruction. All right. Essentially, these guys like to destroy documents for no fucking reason. There was a day in, what was it? It was in 2022. Essentially, there was a lawsuit filed that said, hey, stop destroying shooting documents. The ACLU filed it. This was back in 2019. A few months later, Deputy Chief Green issued an order that they should retain all SB 1421 records, which would include shootings. That was in 2019. Then in 2021, SB 16 was signed into law, which requires records related to complaints and out-of-policy shootings to be retained while they're being investigated.
Oh, it's the activist judge. Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
But that didn't stop.
Activist judges gotta go! Hey, hey! Ho!
Hold on, guys.
Ho! Ho! You gotta go!
Sorry, I had a phone call coming in. I had to take. No, it's not public guy. It's the other guy. It's like the lawyer dude. That look clearer? I guess so.
Daryl, you got the cam on. We're supposed to hear that conversation. It's supposed to be recorded. You can monitor as you speak, and then we can review it later. Where is that recording? Activist judge, where's that recording? De La Guerra, where's your cam? Every CPAB is supposed to have a cam on. Everybody at a CPAB talks to the police department. It's supposed to have a cam on. It's supposed to be recorded. President? Oh yeah, he's not a president. He's the FBI. That one dude said, yeah, the FBI investigate the LAPD. Well, here it is. He doesn't do a damn thing.
Look at him, he's got his hand around it. So what I'm gonna listen
Is
for?
this the two flat tires today? These two over here? Oh, there's another one. Hey, hey, ho, ho, fob hole's gotta go. Hey, fob hole. That's another embedded foreign enemy combatant. That's 1, 2, 3, arresting. You need to be arrested and put in jail forever. Activist judge gotta go. You're a corrupt, embedded
Good morning.
liar.
Commissioners, Chief McDonald, Mr. Sibley, Madam Secretary, Acting Inspector General Florence Hugh, Mr. City Attorney. Today is
I'm gonna listen to the
Tuesday,
crime
March
statistics.
2025. It's 9:30 a.m.
Let's see, I only care about what they talk about year over year, not the 4-week trend.
Good morning. Please let the record reflect Commissioners Suthers, Calanche, Garcia, and Sanchez Gordon are present.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Thank you. We welcome everyone attending this morning. The Police Commission is committed to ensuring equal access to its meetings. It is requested that individuals who require the services of a translator contact the Board Secretary no later than the day preceding the meeting. Whenever possible, a translator will be provided. Sign language interpreters, assistants,
Hey, what's going on?
devices, or other auxiliary aids and/or services may be provided upon request. To ensure availability, you are advised to make your request within 72 hours prior to the meeting you wish to attend. All public comment will be heard during item number 2 on the
And
agenda.
then give public comment.
Dedicate a total of 45 minutes to public comment. Members of the public will have 1 minute per agenda item for a maximum of 2 minutes total. As a
Liar.
request of the speaker will be given
People
one
don't pay
additional minute
attention.
for general public comment for a maximum of 3 minutes total.
It's a,
Members
people
of the
forget
public
after 2
participating in
days.
Public comment are reminded that they can speak to any item on the agenda or a matter within the jurisdiction of the Board of Police Commissioners.
Plus,
Before the board, and to generally express when you disagree with other opinions expressed.
Yeah, I don't agree.
However, directing your comments to other individuals who have spoken or attacking others who have expressed their opinion shall be deemed off topic, and your public comment period will be concluded. Members of the public, if you choose to participate in public comment portion of the agenda, you can participate in this meeting in a number of ways outlined on the agenda. Message for those attending the meeting in person. Meetings are regular meetings between the board, the department, and key stakeholders. Meetings of the Board of Police Commissioners are open to the public. The state's Ralph M. Brown Act affords the public the opportunity to be present at the meetings, hear the presentations and dialogue in real time.
And then comment after that, which you don't allow.
You're disrupting the meeting. And dialogue in real time and provide feedback via the public comment period. During these meetings, there's a need for the board to carry out public business expeditiously without delays or disruptions. Members of the audience shall not engage in any conduct that would cause an actual disruption of the meeting. Those attending in person are reminded that disruptive behavior will be cause for removal. If you disrupt this meeting, you will be provided with only one warning to cease disruptive behavior. If you fail to cease such behavior, you will be removed from the meeting. All attendees must be seated. Failure to follow this rule will result in a warning and/or removal from the meeting. With that, we will move to item number 1, report of the Chief of Police, Chief McDonald.
3 minutes.
Good morning, President Suthers, Vice President Shields, Commissioners, Acting Inspector General Youth, City Attorney Delegara, and Mr. Sidley. Today I'll be discussing significant events from the previous week, providing a crime update, and discussing our personnel strength. We had no officer-involved shootings or categorical uses of force
For
during the
once.
previous week. Year to date, we're at 6 officer-involved shootings in comparison to 7 same time last year, for a 14.3% decrease. As expected, the city's preparing for the upcoming rain with a particular focus on communities affected by the Palisades, Hearst, and Sunset fires. We're closely coordinating efforts and actively monitoring conditions to ensure the safety of those in impacted areas. I urge everyone to be prepared, remain vigilant, especially if an evacuation order becomes necessary. Being ready ahead of time can make all the difference in ensuring a swift and safe response. We'll continue to provide updates as the situation develops. On March 9th, 2025, at approximately 23:30 hours, LAPD officers assigned to the Palisades Fire Crime Suppression Detail responded to a radio call
Oh,
regarding
God.
2 trespass suspects walking with shovels
Big
near
news.
Pacific Coast Highway and Coastline Drive. Officers located the individuals walking southbound near PCH and Sunset and detained them. Officers confirmed that neither had a lawful reason to be inside the designated evacuation zone. Both suspects were arrested for Penal Code 409.5C, unauthorized entry into a closed emergency area, and were issued a release from custody citation and released. The incident highlights the department's ongoing commitment to crime suppression efforts in the wake of the Palisades fire. Since January 7th emergency declaration by the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, the department has dedicated significant resources to securing the impacted areas, protecting property, and preventing criminal activity. Under Penal Code Section 409.5, unauthorized entry into an emergency area is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 6 months in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. As we continue to support recovery efforts and work toward rebuilding, there will be zero tolerance for individuals who unlawfully enter restricted areas or attempt to exploit these vulnerable communities. The safety and security of these neighborhoods remain a top priority. On March 7th, Metropolitan B Platoon officers conducted surveillance on a highly active burglary crew identified by North Hollywood burglary detectives. This crew, known as the Uber Eats crew, has been targeting homes by posing as food delivery drivers, often wearing Uber Eats or Amazon vests to appear legitimate. Their tactic was simple: approach a residence under the guise of making a delivery, and if no one answered the door, they proceeded to burglarize the home. Using department resources, detectives identified a primary suspect and used investigative techniques to track his movements. As the investigation progressed, the second suspect was identified. They monitored the suspects as they traveled across Valley and Westport divisions, confirming their pattern of casing and burglarizing homes. During surveillance, officers observed the suspects put on Amazon vests before approaching a
And if they're
residence
understaffed,
in
they claim.
division. The vehicle they were using had no license plates attached, and while no immediate signs of forced entry were observed at the location, the suspects were later seen in an alley putting license plates back on their vehicle. From there, they drove to a home in Van Nuys, where they committed a hot prowl burglary, meaning that the residents were inside at the time of the burglary. As they fled, an airship tracked their vehicle and provided real-time updates to responding units. Before officers could engage, the vehicle's passenger jumped out and fled on foot. Responding units pursued and later apprehended the suspect. Meanwhile, the vehicle continued at a high rate of speed, and as officers worked to catch up, the airship was forced to discontinue tracking due to entering LAX airspace. The suspect vehicle was eventually found abandoned near the airport, where officers recovered video evidence and additional forensic material. Officers continued to track the primary suspect using various investigative techniques, which ultimately led them to an apartment complex in North Hollywood. There, officers identified a vehicle linked to a possible associate and conducted a traffic stop. The primary suspect was taken into custody without incident, and a parole search of his residence uncovered additional evidence tying the crew to multiple burglaries. This operation was a prime example of coordinated intelligence-led policing, bringing together North Hollywood burglary detectives, Metropolitan Division, and air support to dismantle an organized crew targeting many of our communities. On a second burglary crew arrest incident, North Hollywood Division was the lead on significant multi-agency burglary investigation involving a series of residential burglary impacting West LA, North Hollywood, and Topanga areas. This case developed through collaborative efforts between North Hollywood burglary detectives, Metropolitan's Criminal Impact Team, and Commercial Crimes Division, ultimately leading to the identification and arrest of multiple suspects. These individuals were linked to at least 7 burglaries, with video evidence showing them wearing identical clothing across multiple incidents. In one attempt, 3 masked suspects were captured on surveillance footage, shutting off the power to a residence before attempting to gain entry. When confronted by the victims inside, they fled the scene in a black BMW. Detectives used department resources to identify a primary suspect, which allowed officers to formulate a surveillance plan to gather intelligence on his residence, vehicle, and known associates. On March 5th, officers deployed early around the suspect's residence and observed them leaving in the black BMW. Due to the suspect's erratic driving behavior, Special Flights was requested to assist with tracking. The vehicle was monitored as it drove through Glendale and Burbank. During this time, a burglary in progress was reported in the area, and shortly thereafter, the suspect vehicle fled from the location. The air unit coordinated with responding Burbank PD officers who attempted to stop the vehicle. A short distance away, the suspect crashed their vehicle and fled on foot. A perimeter was established with assistance from Burbank PD, and all three suspects were ultimately taken into custody. North Hollywood detectives later completed a search warrant on the primary suspect's residence where additional evidence was recovered, further tying them to the burglary series. Again, demonstrating the effectiveness of intelligence-led policing and interagency collaboration. Thanks to the coordinated
That's never
efforts of
been a
North
rule
Hollywood
before.
burglary detectives, Metro CIT, Air Support, and Burbank PD, a highly
People always
active
turn in
burglary
cards for
group
people.
has been apprehended. Through March 8th, the city has seen encouraging reductions in overall crime, with combined persons and property crimes down 7.4% compared to the prior 4-week period. Persons crimes have decreased by 1.2%, while property crimes are down by 9%. Homicides continue to trend downward with year-to-date decrease of 30.8%.
30%
or 16
decrease in
fewer
homicides.
compared to this time last year.
30%.
Notably, there have been no multi-victim homicides in 2025, whereas in 2024, 4 multi-victim incidents accounted for 9 homicide victims by the same period. Gang-related homicides
I think that's
remain
down, too.
consistent, accounting for 41% of all homicides in both 24 and 25. However, one concerning trend is the increase in homeless victims, who now account for 28.2% of homicide victims this year, compared to 15.5% at the same period last year. Despite this shift, every bureau has seen an overall reduction in homicides, with Operations West Bureau experiencing the largest decrease at 7 fewer cases. Rampart Division, which recorded 7 homicides by this time last year, has reported none in 2025, and Hollywood has also seen a drop from 4 homicides in 24 to 0 this year. The number of shooting victims citywide has also declined, with a 21.7
See, every week,
decrease
they talk about how it's down.
compared to 2024.
Stop asking for money.
Aggravated assaults have increased by 4.1% over the past 4 weeks, with notable increases in Newton, West Valley, Mission, and 77th Street divisions. There's been no trend or pattern associated with these divisions experiencing an increase. At the same time, robberies have decreased by 9.5%, with firearms-related robberies down 25.3%. Burglaries have increased by 8.9% in the past 4 weeks, with spikes in areas like Topanga, Devonshire, Olympic, and Southwest divisions. Residential burglaries are up 8.9%, while non-residential burglaries have risen by 19.2%, with significant increases in Pacific, Topanga, and Newton divisions. We continue to monitor burglary crews such as the recently apprehended Uber Eats crew to address organized crime patterns that contribute to these trends. Motor vehicle thefts have decreased by 11.2% over the past 4 weeks, and while we've seen progress in several areas, we recognize the challenges that remain. Our department remains committed to the strategic, intelligence-led policing, focusing on crime suppression efforts in areas where we see increases. Our personnel strength as of March 10th, on the sworn side, we stand at 8,761, civilian professional staff at 2,660, and reserve officers steady at 380. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chief. And I'll open the floor for questions or comments from other commissioners. Mr. Garcia,
Shields isn't, they never ask. They're like
please go ahead.
Clarence Thomas.
Chief, just want to get an update from you on what we keep hearing in the news regarding the officers in the recruitment office. And I just want to make sure that we're doing everything that we need to do to ensure that that issue is being addressed. So we can just
Absolutely.
Super
Yeah,
specific.
we became aware several weeks back now of the incident that you talk about where totally inappropriate comments were being made in the workplace. They were captured on audio tape. Once we became aware of that,
Inappropriate.
immediately pulled the involved officers out of that unit, assigned them to home with no police powers, and have made the notification, notified the mayor, the commission, the mayor's office, the inspector general, and move forward with the investigation. We have since, we're in the process of backfilling all of those individuals so that we can keep the job going of recruitment and bringing people on board. But certainly a major setback to all of us, and just, disgusted with what we heard. But the investigation will go on, appropriate action will be taken.
The only appropriate action is firing them.
You can't even say the word racist, it's just inappropriate.
Please allow the Commissioner to ask her question. Thank
And
you.
just for clarity, like there is like a internal due process that the department has to go through.
Internal due process.
Because these are, officers that have, protections as employees, just like any city employee. So it's not like we
No,
can
they've got
just
extra
fire them on
protections.
the spot. Just wanna ensure that the public knows that they're not in their current positions or at home, and that they will go through the internal process.
And get a slap on the wrist and be back out in the department.
With the white mask, excuse me, Commissioner, you're disrupting the meeting. This is your first and only warning.
White mask.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, so just wanna make sure that we're clear about the process and that there is a system in place to address employee issues, and police officers are part of the civil service system. So I just wanted to be clear about that.
Thank you for that. Yeah, there is a process, and it does not happen overnight, but it's certainly being taken very seriously. The investigation.
Do you feel like holding this one up there?
Dedicated.
You can hold this one up there?
It'll be expedited as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Chief.
Film it on mine too. I'll put it on
Thank
TikTok.
you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sanchez-Gordon?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chief.
Morning.
I also want to discuss this article that was appeared in the paper yesterday, March 10th, regarding the racist comments at LAPD. I'm happy to hear that
Happy
you
to
have
hear.
taken steps, and I think that what was reported in the article is that you are deeply disappointed by reports that
deeply.
certain officers reported making racist and offensive comments regarding department applicants. Our numbers are low. These comments are totally unacceptable. They don't really allow for a serious consideration of those that are interested in joining the LAPD. I attended my first graduation. I was happy to see families there, the incoming LAPD officers, and it's really a wonderful sight to see that we have all these young people interested in coming into law enforcement, but it also is disheartening when these comments continue, and within not the low ranks of the department, but people in authority, people who have been around LAPD for a while. And it's disheartening in the sense that it's not, it's coming from everyone.
EMT class.
Black officers
Like,
coming from
with
women,
the stuff that I
from Latinos,
saw quoted in the LA Times
Asians,
article is not that
and,
similar to what I heard them talking and saying amongst each other. I had cops come up to me the other day and say this. I'm gonna talk about it up there, but they were telling me that they're targeted. When they leave Hollywood Station after work, they're getting pulled over.
And yet it will.
So I'm happy to hear, Chief, that you made these comments to the public, that you made it known to everyone of your position, and that it's unacceptable conduct within LAPD.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Chief, if I could just follow up.
Sure.
As you know, we're going to be losing 100 officers over the next year due to retirement. If for nothing, no other reason. I want to applaud the recruiting section Because that's each time I go out to the Honest Recruit Training Center every month, there's about 100 people that are applying to the department. It is going to be difficult.
You want to applaud the recruiting department? Is that what you just said? Applaud it?
You're disrupting the meeting. This is your first and last warning.
All right.
It is difficult to recruit when people who apply to this department. Try one more time. You're being removed from the meeting. Stand up and leave the room. Black mask, black jacket. I'm ordering you out of the room.
Who? Who are you talking
I didn't
to?
stutter. Black mask, black jacket. Stand up, leave the room.
It was me laughing. She was sitting there
And you both
quietly.
can leave.
What do you? Wow.
warning first?
I'll run the meeting, sir. Sit down. And
Oh
shut up.
my God. And shut up. And you wonder why nobody respects you.
You are both being removed from the meeting.
Only one got a warning, don't both gotta get a warning?
I'll go with her.
I wasn't even fucking talking, you fucking pig. Fuck all of you.
Chief, as applicants apply to this department, you want to believe that there's a level playing field. And it would appear that when you hear statements allegedly made like that by people who are doing the hiring here, that certainly doesn't give that perception. So we're looking forward to a fair and just process obviously for those officers to go through, but at the same time, we want to afford the applicants to this department the same fair and just process when they apply.
Absolutely, Mr. President.
Got here before the fair and just process.
We will now go to the public comment period. Madam Secretary, please call the first speaker.
The first speaker is Andrew Bragner.
Alright, so we had 9 minutes and 32 seconds today. I kept track of it. Of McDonald lying, giving all kinds of gaslighting. Meanwhile, we get 3 minutes to try to respond to it. I guess the chief's special like that. And, you know, people are just trying to get people to shut up. I mean, that's like a, you know, it's just like a almost exaggeration of the way presiding officers sometimes interact with the public. We don't have to, you're actually just outright saying it. And meanwhile, you know, McDonald can't even be bothered to say the word racist. He can't even say that word. And, you know, it's not, we see how the LAPD talks about people, cops who are trying to become cops, literally trying to become one of you. How? How does the LAPD talk about just regular members of the public?
Yep.
Because clearly, this is how they talk about recruits. People trying to become cops. How do they talk about just regular members of the public? It's got to be a lot worse. I mean, this is clearly a serious culture of racism and just general hatred going on in this department, which I guess is not really surprising to people who have paid attention over the years to what you do, but it still just shows that there is some kind of clear culture going on, and clearly none of you are interested in addressing it. And we see it just with the agenda items here. I mean, there's a donation. You're now hiding where you get your dogs from. We know it's from that kennel named after the bunker that Hitler hid out at the end of World War II. That's where you get your dogs from. That kennel named after Hitler's bunker, and you want to hide it. You want to hide the source of where you're getting your dogs from. I mean, we've got donations for just weird, unspecified tools that no one even knows what they do or what they are. They're just confusing stuff. You got so much money just for parties, for weird desert runs, $15,000 for a car wash. I mean, this is just a mess. This is just, you're just shoveling money around, you're just corruption, racism. Meanwhile, people are getting shot by the LAPD, and you keep lying about how you're not helping immigration officials. Providing traffic control is assisting immigration officials. Providing traffic control is a form of assisting them, so stop lying and saying the LAPD isn't assisting them.
Thank you.
Good morning. I do want to really quickly address about the scandal. I do know somebody who is applying, and I'm hoping that you will overlook everything that they have done and give everyone a fair, fresh look and a chance, if they want to become part of LAPD. I also want to refer to the people that came and spoke, the survivors, the victims that spoke 2 weeks ago. I don't want that to fall away and be lost. I want to thank actually Phil Tabby. I'm going to call him out and thank him because he's been listening to all of this. And when he stood up last week, I wasn't able to be there. I heard it though. He stood up for the victims and saying, "You guys need to look into this. You please, what are you doing?" So I thank him that people are hearing and they're asking the questions. That please, this, don't let the victims that came and poured their hearts out to you get lost. They need to be heard. I'm also going to keep bringing the same message about that the undue influence that I let between the CPAP members from Scientology, Janet Whelan, and LAPD being able to use lawfare, against protests, because for their own doing. Okay, because things that maybe, like you said, like say if somebody pulls off a sign and they get arrested for that, is that a felony? Is that a $50,000, $25,000 bail? Okay, there's, if they're overdoing, they're overextending, they're using their contacts, and I'm asking you to please overlook everything that Northeast Division is doing for, with regards to anyone arrested with, dealing with Scientology issues, that it is a fair process, that it is the same process that you would apply to anyone else. So if I called in and said, hey, somebody ripped off my sign, would that person be having a $25,000 bail? That's, for one car. So there's this unfairness, and I'm begging you, been begging you, to intervene with CPAP, suspend Scientology from CPAP, look into everything that's been done against protesters, and if there's, if there is a crime, whatever, that they want to pursue, that you feel that needs to be pursued, that it be done fairly, that it be done in relationship to what everyone else would have to face, but not that it gets amplified because it's Scientology. I am begging you to get involved with this and deal with the CPAP influence and what we call face pointing, where they have such a relationship with people that they pick and they do their bidding. I am saying I believe this is going on.
The next speaker, Jason Reedy.
Okay, so we now have all learned the specific racist, sexist, and homophobic comments made by pigs from the LAPD's Employment and Recruitment Division, the one that Errol wants to celebrate today. The same pigs that Craig Lally and others within the department called poster children for the LAPD. Now, the recorded racial epithets, slurs, and viewpoints expressed by your pigs reflect the same type of shit we hear at this commission from commenters that you scoffed at the regular. As if the same language and rhetoric we hear from them is any different from what's being said at every station, every division, and at every level of this department. Now, LAPD is saying they're going to investigate whether the latest recordings were made illegally. And the concern of this commission, the LAPD, and the media is that this scandal is a roadblock to growing the ranks of this department. But the concern of the public is what these pigs did when you had them deployed in our communities. You have pig Christian Flores, who called the police on black kids selling chocolate in his Simi Valley neighborhood because they don't belong here. What black youth was Flores terrorizing when he was stationed at 77th Division? Aaron McKay, who called black people monkeys, was on the Use of Force Review Board as of June 2024. How many cases did he review where he sanctioned violence against black people? And his last post was also at 77th Division. How many black people that he again thought of as monkeys were victim to his terror. Now, Jim, you said Captain Robin Patillo, the head of the Recruitment and Employment Division, was sent home for a similar but separate issue. When will we learn the details of what was said and what she did? I'll remind this commission and the public that the LAPD hasn't sustained a racial bias complaint in at least 17 years. Right? Calling William Good a black fool isn't worthy of discipline. Commissioners like Rasha Shields argued that this scandal and others are aberrations. But the history of LAPD, both past and present, reveals that these scandals reflect the true nature of this department. And this leads me to one of the biggest propaganda pushes the LAPD has made over the years, that a more diverse workforce equals less bias, less discrimination, blah, blah, blah. DEI was readily adopted by LAPD, and its primary use is as a smokescreen to deceive the public into thinking that because the department is 70% people of color, it somehow translates to being at the quote-unquote vanguard of innovation, trust, and transparency. DEI is liberal counterinsurgency, right? And part of the wide array of counterinsurgency tactics used by the LAPD that includes community policing, nonprofits like the Los Angeles Police Foundation, and the use of the media to spread your fictitious narratives. A bold-faced lie that has been told over and over again to fortify consent for the LAPD's continued occupation of this colony that we call Los Angeles. And the assimilation of marginalized groups will never hide one of the main missions of this department, the destruction of black and brown bodies. The idea that LAPD isn't what it was 10, 20, 30, even 40 years ago, because it isn't as white, is hogwash. You use black and brown faces to pacify our communities to show the public the quote-unquote progress that has been made. But in reality, the racism, sexism, and homophobia that flowed from your most colorful pigs in the red division would easily come out the mouths of pigs like Ed Davis and Daryl Gates. LAPD has proven that it isn't quote-unquote a beacon of the true diversity within our city. It has always been and will always be the beacon of white supremacy within our city and beyond. Errol Southers, the fact that you tell me shut up when I'm just...
Thank you. Again, that person should have been kicked out. They weren't given a warning. And you other commissioners should speak up for that.
Public comment
Shut
period
the
has
fuck up.
expired.
Shut your fucking mouth.
The next speaker, please, William Booth.
So to be clear once again, crime is down year over year, just like you said last week, and the week before, and the week before. Last year, same thing. Crime is down with fewer officers. So why are you raiding our budget?
That's
you guys
right.
are defunding
That's right.
our city.
Right.
Now, Errol wants to give credit to the recruiting department, as if those 4 or 5 employees are just an aberration.
Right.
As if this racism isn't widespread. I talked about this last week, I'll talk about it again. I'm minding my business on Hollywood Boulevard grabbing a smoothie when officers in uniform came up to me and they said to me, "You are right. They are racist as fuck." His exact words. Officers in uniform are telling me this. Why are they telling me this? That tells me that there's a serious problem. Now, if it's bad for these officers, because these officers are saying that we are getting off of work and leaving the Hollywood station, and the HED officers are pulling them over because they are black. How do you think it feels for the rest of us in the community and what we have to deal with? This is not an aberration, Errol. This is widespread. As Jason just mentioned, an officer called me a black fool. It's caught on tape. You guys accidentally released those internal affairs files to me. I should never have known about it. But accidentally, I got that. And when I look at it, it said the cop called me a black fool. You guys will, he was just...
I recognize 2 of them, Sergeant Danny Zhang and then the officer Shirley Burgos. Those are the 2 officers that I interact with. I informed the officer that I currently don't have a phone, and I informed the officer that is there a way that if you they sent me an email to do something called pre-background interview, and I said, is there a way that you can schedule me a time, schedule me a day, I will go to your office, let's just do everything in person. Currently I don't have a phone service.
Fuck, I got an emergency. I gotta get the hell out of here. I got an emergency. Shit. I'll make a phone call and see you.
I start to, he said, you know, let me give you my sergeant.
Now I got a little minor emergency going on out here. Fuck. Yeah, I guess it wasn't wasn't connecting while I was in there. I recorded it on my other phone. We can talk about what I really want to talk about that shooting that happened against that woman. But Errol's... How you doing? There you go. Shit. All right, I guess I'm going back in. You know, all the fireworks are over. It's pretty much over.
Yeah?
Yeah. Is there anything going on at City Hall?
Looks like it.
Yeah, I mean, what are those people walking over there for?
I have no idea.
That might be better to look at than this. This is over.
Yeah?
Yeah, I already gave my public comment. They already kicked people out. Jason talked. They already talked about the...
Oh, they kick people out?
Yeah. Errol's on a fucking power trip right now.
Yeah, fuck.
Just walk over there. I just gotta make a phone call.
Now, by talk to them, you mean go get a Red Bull first, and then we'll talk?
Yeah, let's go
That's
get
what
it.
you meant, right?
Yeah.
Are you live right now?
Yeah. I can get off.
Yeah, no, you can be live. That's fine.
There he is, guys. The one and only.
Running late as shit.
Yeah, it's essentially... There'll be a few more public comments, but they're gonna go into closed session in a minute.
Okay.
I really wanted to address the shooting, but Errol was praising. Guess which department he praised this morning? At all of an LAPD.
Foothill Division?
No.
Metro? Hollywood?
No. The recruiting division. He was praising the recruiting division, which is like such a fucking slap in the face. And Jim McDonald called the comments by the recruiting division. So guys, the recruiting division just got caught saying a bunch of racist shit. The thing about it is everybody involved are minorities themselves saying racist shit. A black guy saying racist shit against black people, a Latina saying racist shit against Latinos, an Asian guy talking shit about everybody.
I was gonna say,
it was run by a black guy, the whole unit, who said if people find out about this, we're gonna end up in the LA Times, and guess what? They ended up in the LA Times.
Ended up in the LA Times. I thought that was pretty funny.
Let's go get a Red Bull.
Fact about that guy, I've seen him every week.
Every week, always.
6 years.
Yeah. And he's serious about it. He is not fucking around. He's out here every day for years. Is he a cop that was fired or something?
Not every day. Every week though.
I don't think I've come past here recently and he wasn't here.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't actually know his backstory. I should probably talk to him at some point.
I feel like he's spoken at the commission meetings.
Yeah.
I think he was a cop that got fired like 10 years ago, and he claims that he was... I could be wrong. I'm not going to speculate.
So a bunch of people got kicked out of the commission meeting, huh?
Yeah, Errol was just tripping. I mean... It's whatever.
There shouldn't be a problem.
By the way, Express News has been my little secret. People don't know about the store.
What? Oh, this one right here?
Yeah, it's right here, but people don't know about it.
Yeah, I always like 7-Eleven because they had the 2-for-1s on Red Bulls.
Yeah. Well, I always like this spot because it's literally right here.
It's right, I know. People don't know about it.
I would pay a premium. Hello. They got 3 for $10, which is...
Guys, I think I'm about to get off. I'm just annoyed right now. My speech, I didn't talk about what I really needed to talk about. I just ended up going off in a tangent. I really need to talk about the shootings of people who are experiencing mental health crisis. It's just you get 3 minutes a week to talk about this shit. It's just, I'm not going to let him, they were trying to make it sound like the shit that happened at the training division, at the recruiting division, was just like a one-off. It was just 4 rogue cops saying racist ass shit. Looks like a cloudy day. Yeah, it's a little rainy. It's gonna be raining for the next 3 days. I fucking hate rain. This is not why I moved to California. You never had a Red Bull? I don't know. They don't do anything for me, to be honest with you. Everybody talks about how, like, oh man, they get me all wired up. They don't do shit for me, but you know, I do lattes with 4 or 5 shots of espresso in them 2 or 3 times a day. I just drink Red Bulls because I don't know. My thing is I have ADHD, but I don't take medication, so I figure caffeine. Huh?
That's what caffeine's for.
Oh, a little bit of caffeine, huh?
Yeah. Want one?
No, I don't.
We have,
Just walk to 7-Eleven. I need better flavors than that. You have tried the new one, the new
I
grapefruit
don't know,
flavor?
this is Korea's #1 RTD coffee brand. What do you got? It's from Lottie. Yeah.
You tried the new grapefruit flavored Red Bull?
I still have
The
not
purple?
decided how I feel about it.
I love it, man.
Do you?
I do.
I'm still... I don't hate it. I know that. I can't decide if I really like it or if it's just regular. You know? Should I use my decade plus experience as a sommelier to break it down? I don't know if it's in balance, man. You know, it's the acidity and the floral.
You don't think so?
component. Yeah,
I think it's balanced perfectly.
Yeah. It's got kind of a cotton candy thing going on.
I think you hate grapefruit. I think that's the
I
problem.
actually really like grapefruit.
Maybe you like
I'll fuck up with grapefruit.
all natural grapefruit and not the fake grapefruit.
Yeah.
Not the perfume flavored. Guys, I'm about to get off. I'm a little disappointed with the whole experience in there right now. I'm actually, you get 1 week, and I really want to talk about the mental health shootings. But Errol got me fucking pissed off talking about, I want to thank the personnel division. And like, what? What? How about today is not the day to thank the person? Save that for next week. Today is not the day.
Just wait 7 days.
Yeah, can you not right now? Oh, let me get off, guys. Shout out to the mods. Take care, guys. I'll be back when I'm doing a podcast later.